What is going on, guys? Hope you're all having an awesome day. This is Gus from Galley back again with another One Piece discussion video, and today I would like to discuss something iconic. Something in the series which has been with us basically since the beginning. That being the rivalry between the pirate hunter Roronoa Zoro and Blackleg Sanji Vinsmoke. And I want to talk about it because it's one of my favorite aspects of the Straw Hat crew that I feel has taken a bit of a step back as of late. It's not gone by any means, but if you look at One Piece before the time skip, we have so many iconic moments, like at Little Garden, where one could say the rivalry officially began. Their constant bickering during their fight against the groggy monsters, or fighting in the middle of enemy territories at Enies lobby. But, like I said, post-time skip, their rivalry seems to have temporarily taken a step back. And in this video, I am going to take a look at why that is, and how this legendary rivalry might soon make a comeback. Now, I feel like these two aren't up to the same shenanigans with each other, mostly due to two reasons. Reason one is a bit on the nose. It's the obvious fact that Zoro and Sanji basically haven't had a lot of screen time together since Punk Hazard. During that arc, as well as the ones before, such as the reunion at Sabaody arc, there was quite a bit of banter between the two, and they might have had a few interactions during the start of Dressrosa as well, but Sanji was absent for a huge chunk of that arc. They were never on Zou at the same time, and Zoro wasn't part of the Sanji retrieval squad at Whole Cake Island, which was great, I suppose, because it allowed some of the other Straw Hats like Brook to have some really badass moments of their own. But since these last few arcs have been a bit different, with a lot more of the crew splitting up and the like, new character dynamics arise and take center stage, and the old ones, such as the Sanji and Zoro rivalry, might need to fall back a bit for a while, which is completely fine. But now that the whole crew is finally at least in the same country, I feel like it might finally be time for some old relationships to rise back to the forefront. It even seems like Oda might deliberately be holding back on the Zoro and Sanji reunion specifically, since we still haven't gotten to it. It seems to be coming up though, since Zoro is currently heading to the same town Sanji is in, and we all know we're in for some amazing banter once they finally see each other again for the first time in forever, it seems, especially now that Sanji's bounty is higher than Zoro's for the very first time. And the second reason why the rivalry might seem a bit different nowadays is because, in my opinion at least, ever since the time skip, the gap in power level between them seems to be way too high for them to even be considered rivals. At the moment, Zoro seems so much stronger. Sure, he's always been stronger, but pre-time skip Sanji seemed to be just behind him. Nowadays, Zoro seems way closer to Luffy than he is to Sanji, and Sanji seems to be falling behind quite a bit. Now, let me go off on a bit of a quick tangent and just state that Sanji is quite possibly my favorite character in all of One Piece. He's definitely my favorite Straw Hat, and it's been like that ever since I first saw this panel of badassery. And in Sanji's defense, he's had a few really tough opponents and a whole lot of bad luck. So I'm not saying he's not strong. He's always been super strong. I mean, he's currently sitting on 330 million berries in bounty, and that's quite high, and we all know both him and Zoro are way above their current bounties in terms of power level. But even though Sanji might have a higher bounty, Zoro seems to just be on a whole nother level since his training with Mihawk during the time skip. And I feel like Wano might be the arc where we finally get to see him go all out. And once that happens, the gap between Zoro and Sanji will probably be even more apparent, unless Sanji gets a huge power up. So in other words, it comes down to Sanji needing that power up if he's ever going to be able to compete with Zoro again. And so I'm going to be focusing more on him. Their rivalry is such an essential part of the crew dynamic, and with Jinbei in there, it's going to be even more competitive. I feel like that by the end of the series, those three need to be at basically the same level. Because if you look at a lot of the big bosses that are left for Luffy to face at the moment, there seems to be a pattern of three going on, such as the three calamities, the three current Sweet Commanders, and of course the three Admirals, which I am hoping Zoro, Sanji, and Jinbei face while Luffy faces off against the Kainu. In other words, I feel like there's basically going to be a new monster trio with Luffy rising above them all that are going to be like an answer to the three Calamities and the three Sweet Commanders and the three Admirals. And by the end of the series, they're all going to have to be Admiral level, basically. But let's leave all the future speculation aside for a moment and look at where we are now in the story. Wano. The stakes are at an all-time high for the Straw Hats, and for the first time in a long while, I think we're gonna get some really tough fights for every one of our heroes. And for Zoro and Sanji, it seems to me like those opponents are gonna be the top calamities, King and Queen. And I feel like those fights are the events that are going to cement Zoro and Sanji as rivals again. As far as Zoro is concerned, I feel like he might already be low tier Yonko commander level, but in order to face off against King, he's finally gonna have to go all out, and I think he does need a slight power up in order to take him on, which I'm sure he'll get, and I feel like it's going to be amazing and epic. But Sanji, on the other hand, seems to be a bit more out of his league right now. And I'm saying that as a worried fanboy, not to shit on him. My boy needs to go all out. Same as Zoro, but as I said previously, he is going to need a massive power up to take on someone like Queen. And I believe that power up to be this, his raid suit. Now, this might seem like a cop-out, and I know I'm not the first one to mention it, but hear me out. I'm going to lay out why I think the raid suit is the perfect boost for Sanji. Here's why. It hugely amplifies his greatest stat, that being his speed. But it also buffs his strength and endurance just as much, and he's already considerably strong in that category, but he could use a bit of a buff there, considering he almost broke his leg while fighting Virgo. And one more thing to consider here is Haki. His observation Haki is already at the level where he's able to dodge a bullet from Katakuri, which is a hugely underrated feat, by the way, and we also know he has armament. And since Haki blooms more the stronger your opponent is, it's safe to assume he'll grow in both these departments during the fight as well. So imagine an even faster Sanji with a lot more endurance and destructive power, combined with a high tier observation Haki and at least moderately strong armament Haki, going all out and defeating Queen. That, if anything, should reaffirm his position as one of the monsters of the crew and once again put him in the same league as Zoro. And I think that might be how it actually goes down. Moving on from there, I think the balance in power should be back until Jinbei joins back up with the crew, and then we'll have a new monster trio beneath Luffy, one that evolves at the same pace and, if my hopes are correct, will one day defeat the Admirals. So, those are my thoughts on the subject of Sanji and Zoro's rivalry and how to close the gap in their power level. Might have been a bit Sanji-centric, but like I said, he's my favorite character, and I'm tired of seeing him get his ass handed to him again and again and again. But let me know what you think and share your own thoughts down below. Also, feel free to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. More videos are coming, so stay tuned. Until then, guys, stay safe and take care. Bye.